Curious. Um, uh, Maybe the misconception that people have of your role as a prophet. What's the biggest one, or are there any, or what, have you experienced anything that where people maybe have a different understanding of, or like, do they come to you looking for lotto numbers as an example? Do you get those sorts of?
Yeah, I do get that. I do get that a lot. Let me tell you, if I could get the lotto numbers, I wouldn't be doing this job. I would be on a beach somewhere in Barbados, recording my TikToks from a hot beach. Um, so there's a lot of preconceived notions that people do have
Got you. Got
that
you.
I do.
Got you. Got you. Well, listen, I'm a believer because you already demonstrated your prophet skills in this conversation. In a few weeks, I'm actually going to Barbados for a trip, and you just talked about it. So there we go. So, so yes,
There you
I am a
go.
believer.
Amazing. Amazing.
Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stephenson, the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, where we inspire you to live your best audacious life ever. It's always a pleasure to be here sharing insights, and I truly appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us. Our goal is to empower you with insights and conversation that spark personal growth, encourage authenticity, and ignite your passion for living a fulfilling life. Now, imagine you're on a grand journey across the vast ocean. At the outset, you might be drawn to the glittering treasures that lie beneath the surface, the shiny coins of material success, the beautiful ships that signify status, and the exotic islands that represent societal approval. But as you sail further, you realize that these treasures, while alluring, often weigh your vessel down. They create storms of discontent, turbulence on your journey, and only when you cast off those burdens and navigate towards the uncharted waters of authenticity and self-discovery do you find the true treasures of life, the deep, fulfilling connections with others, the joy of pursuing your passion, and the peace that comes with living your truth. This shift from material pursuits to spiritual fulfillment is not just a change in direction, it's a complete transformation in how you view your purpose and potential. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Gemma Lonsdale, a gifted prophet and seer who has dedicated her life to helping individuals uncover their authentic true selves. With a background in the corporate world, Gemma experienced a profound transformation from pursuing material success I just talked about to embracing her spiritual gifts. She now guides others on their journey to self-discovery, empowering them to break free from societal expectations and limiting beliefs. Gemma's insights are invaluable for anyone feeling lost or discontent in their lives. Her unique perspective on authenticity, spiritual growth, and the challenges many face in today's fast-paced, expectation-driven society makes this episode particularly relevant to our listeners. It really is a fabulous conversation, and you are going to definitely appreciate some of the things that Jenna has to say. So without any further ado, let's turn to our chat. Enjoy. Hey, Gemma, thank you for joining me here today on the Audacious Living Podcast. I appreciate you for taking the time to be here.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, no, it's great to be able to connect with individuals, and engage in really hearty conversations about what people can do to live their best audacious life. What we talk about here often, and a really important aspect of understanding what it means is it's very individualized, that journey. We all have our own pathway, our own journey. There are a set of circumstances that are destined for us and us alone that we've got to either enjoy or endure. And again, others on their left and their right, they'll have their own specific challenges, and that's theirs, right? And then we have ours. And so I think once we can understand that and live the life that we're supposed to, I think that's where we're putting ourselves on that path for greatness and happiness and fulfillment. And so really is appreciate that you are able to be here. You operate in a space where you're profiting. I'm going to sort of get you to expand on that a bit further, and you're able to help individuals sort of get past their own challenges, their fears, just a whole, the idea of having faith and strength in their fortitude are all things that you sort of support. And so maybe as a starting point, Gemma, I can get you to introduce yourself and talk to the audience a bit about the work you do, and what's got you to
Yeah.
the point that you're at now.
Okay, cool. So I use the Prophet label. I use the label Prophet. I use seer. I've been known as a psychic medium in the past.
Hmm.
I essentially I have spiritual gifts. This was very much my calling, and I can see, I hear, I feel and sense things. So I can help people along their journey on an individual basis, and then I receive information and wisdom that I share with the collective as well in order to help them along their path. Now, whenever I'm working with individuals, sometimes it's helping them uncover trauma and understand, what is the root cause of one of their behaviors, for example, or it could be helping them understand what the life path might look like moving forward as well for
Mm.
them. What's in store, what's coming up, are they even on the right path? Are they being authentic to themselves? So it's almost flagging things to them that they can often not see themselves. And I wasn't always aware that I had these gifts. And in fact, I wasn't always a believer in like a higher faith or
Hmm.
a
Hmm.
God. And it was whenever I had my own life journey, I was very embedded in the material world, very, full of myself. I was quite like, I don't know, I was full of the wrong sort of confidence and building the wrong sort of things. I was focused on the big house, the big paycheck, the fancy car. But it was all because I wanted to appear to be somebody in the eyes of someone else. And what that had really done was taken me away from who I was supposed to be and from my own authenticity and living life for
Mm.
me. And it was whenever I had a really big shift in my life. I had separated from my husband, and in the same week, I found out that I had cancer and I was moving house. So, in a space of a week or 2 weeks,
Okay.
my life had changed
Wow. Yeah.
completely. And that was the point that had sort of sent me, it was almost like the instigator, really, for sending me down this path of
Okay.
questioning and change and self-help. I really want to use that term because I didn't go to counseling, I didn't seek a therapist, but I did seek knowledge, and that was whenever my connection to the spirit realm started to come to the surface as well.
Mm-hmm. And so you had a sort of corporate career prior to this as well?
I did, yeah. So I was in the recruitment industry. I'd owned my own recruitment agency, and I was then working in the tech industry. I'd made the move across into working for one of my clients, and I was leading a tech company. So I had what I refer to and what I like to think of was a successful corporate career. So it was so incredibly different to start to explore the path that I'm on now because it was so alien to me and the
Right.
people that knew me. So that in itself was like a really challenging thing to step into because I had spent my whole life trying to conform to other people's expectations and trying to be accepted and patted on the back and validated by the world around me and by the
Right.
people around me. And
Right.
suddenly I was facing this thing that I couldn't continue on the path that I was going. I knew that a change had to happen. But with that, I had to go through the process of feeling like an outsider and processing that lack of acceptance, to suddenly
Hmm.
start saying to your colleagues in the tech industry that, oh, well, I see, people and I see things and I hear things and I
Right.
make predictions and it all comes accurate. They're all a bit like you've lost your marbles, Gemma.
Yeah.
You've gone a bit crazy. So it's been quite a journey, quite a journey.
I, I'd love to for you to describe sort of I guess, the moment of realization for you, and when it sort of, I mean, I'm going to use the word awaken because
Yeah,
and I think that's, at least to me, I think that's the most appropriate. I'd like to think that the gifts that we all have are always there. They just have to be uncovered, just dug up, awakened, whatever. And so I wonder if you could sort of talk about what your awakening look like.
exactly. No, that you're exactly right. Like we all have spiritual gifts. We all have a connection. It's just whether we awaken to it
Hmm.
at that particular time. For
Hmm.
me, it wasn't just a one profound moment. I had a lot of smaller moments that grouped together. Like
Hmm.
I was experiencing a lot of synchronicities, things happening. Like I would think to myself, gosh, wouldn't it be weird if I bumped into such and such a person? And then I'd walk around the corner and they're there. But it was things like that kept happening in really compact spaces of time. So it just was like, wow. So I was having a lot of moments like that. And then I started emotionally purging. I can remember sitting, talking to my wall in the living room, and I was sat on my sofa and I just started all of the deep questioning of why I'd made the choices that I had in my life, how I'd ended up here, why my relationship failed, why I couldn't be happy in my career. And it was whenever I really started to purge a lot of that out. Like, I mean, I was crying bucket loads. This
Hmm.
was such an emotional release. And then I started to get messages coming through from other people about what was on my path. And there was one key, profound moment that I had someone appear to me. And that was the very first time, really, that I had had that happen. And it was in a moment where I was seeking answers and trying to get information
Yeah.
about another person. And it just blew my mind. And I said to this other person, I'm getting information about a man that was in your life whenever you were younger, but he didn't get to see you grow up, and he's so proud of you. And that was like, oh wow, how I described the person and the energy was just so incredibly accurate for what had happened in their life.
Hmm.
Um, and so I adopted the name like the label medium. Like I thought I
Okay.
was a medium,
Okay.
but that was
Okay.
never really what I did. And because I hadn't believed in God and I didn't even own a Bible or anything like that, it was I thought I'm a psychic medium. So but I never really connected to lots of people's relatives. I just connected to this one source, this one person that
Hmm.
used to give me information and hope and insight for the people that I was working with, but also for my life.
Okay.
And I had actually been told, um, it was back in like March 2021 that I was a prophet. But even then I was thinking, well, I'm doing the work of a prophet, but I don't need to think about anything more than that. And I got that again at the end of last year, you're a prophet. So um it definitely has deepened my faith and it just helped me transform something. I know I sort of went off in a completely different direction there, but it's been such a profound journey. It's been an incredibly profound journey. And the biggest challenge has been embracing that part of myself that has allowed that to happen and going against the grain. And that has been one of the hardest things. It's not necessarily been the trauma that I've experienced or the tears that I've shed.
Hmm.
It's been the journey towards me more as a person. That has been the biggest challenge and facing the fears of being rejected and
Right.
by family and society and the people that were around me that didn't believe in any of this stuff. But there wasn't any one significant
Okay.
moment. There was a
The
lot of,
collection of little small
yeah,
things. Yeah.
with some really big major ones in between, but
Sure.
it was a
Sure.
bit of a gradual shift.
How shocking or surprised were you when you finally figured out where you're at? Like, it must have been, again, you're coming from not even owning a Bible, right?
Yeah, very, very. Like it's taken me a long time to really get my head around a lot of it.
Mm,
It's not something that I was able to absorb even in just weeks or months. It's been a journey over years to
gotcha.
really
Hmm.
embrace my path and embrace how I am. And I still think that's still evolving in many ways.
Sure.
You know, it is a
Sure.
journey. It's not like there's
Yes.
an end point. But yeah, it's there's just been times whenever I've been told something about myself or my path, and I've just thought, really? Like, really? You know, and then it's taken maybe a year or two from that point to really start to believe in what I
Right.
have been told because I've started to see it come into fruition.
Hmm. 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 I'm curious how this process or this awakening is sort of changed or altered your perspective on life.
Oh, that's been a massive one. You know,
Mm.
I was so embedded in the material world and chasing the wrong things. You know, we're programmed as humans to build and to progress and to chase after something. But so many of us are chasing after the wrong things because we are
Mm.
going after, you know, the job titles, like the status, the money, the physical things rather than focusing on the spiritual growth that we could be experiencing and enhancing ourselves, you know, in a in a mind and spirit way. So I've really reframed a lot of my old thinking. I have shared so many different things that I suppose we're societal expectations. You know, we're
Yep.
raised and we become conditioned to believe certain things and to
Yes.
believe that, you know, this is acceptable, this isn't. And we don't question it. Well, why would we? Because it's just how the world is around us. So I've really been led down a quest of, you know, discovering myself under all of those layers, which I'm sure
Mm.
that there's still more to be discovered as well. I've discovered more compassion for people, this ability to perceive things more from different perspectives, and maybe not even to have to walk in someone's shoes, but I just have so much more compassion for life and the human condition I
Mm.
maybe didn't have before through, you know, selfishness and things like that I experienced. So
Mm.
it's been you know, it's been lovely to get to where I'm at, and I look forward to what else is set to come with that as
Mm.
well. And you know, I have this calling now. You know, I have something that I can go out and I can do, and I feel really
Yes.
fulfilled with it. And
Mm.
I'm doing something good for, you know, for the world and for the people who maybe follow me on social media, for example. And that's amazing to be able to do that
Mhm.
because all of a sudden whenever I was in the corporate world, I can remember thinking to myself, gosh, we have this software, and all we're doing is selling this software to companies that are wanting to sell more stuff. Like,
Yeah.
where am I making a difference here?
Right. Right. Right.
How am I changing the world? And I'm not saying that it's ever bad to be, you know, selling stuff or buying stuff. Like it's not, but it's with everything in life, we need to strive for a little bit more balance.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I was very imbalanced. And I think when I look at the world and how, you know, who we are today,
Yep.
you know, there's so many of us that are imbalanced, but that's just because we don't know any better. You know, we don't
Yes.
know.
Yep. We just kind of go with what we think, and
Mm.
oftentimes we just
Yeah.
kind of follow in the crowd, right? Like, hey,
Yeah,
you want this? Let's go over there
exactly.
and get that, and we
Well,
chase
that's
that,
the
and so,
thing. You know, we
yeah.
are so distracted by so many different things. Like we've got Netflix, we've got our TikToks and our dating apps and our phone. We're out socializing. We've got friend groups where we become so automated that we're automatically doing things that we're not even aware of what the drivers are and the motivations are behind our decisions and choices half the time. So we're
Right.
doing it because we think we have to or because we see other people doing it. And I see it in my daughter all the time. Like she's 11 and she started to get into trends, you
Gotcha.
know, and
Yep.
fashion
That's right.
trends and it
Hey, there's
literally
new trends here. Let's do this. There's new trend. Let's do
yeah,
that. And yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's dance. Let's do the
yeah.
dance trend, mom. Like whatever.
So we adopt that behavior and then we never stop, you know?
Hmm.
So, you know, it's a time of big change whenever we start going against the grain a little bit more. But whenever we become a bit more self-aware and start to question our motivations behind things,
Yep.
it can change our world completely.
Mm, absolutely, absolutely. So then let's talk a little bit about the work that you do with people or how you assist people in the kind of areas. And I'd love to hear about some of the differences that you're making now. I know you before you left a career that wasn't making the difference you want to see into something that you are. What are those
Yeah.
differences?
So I help people become their most authentic version, really, and become more empowered and have more faith. Now, that faith doesn't need to be in God. It might be in the universe. It might be in themselves. But I help them find their journey back to who they are and become more confident and to challenge the societal norms that they have become accustomed to. There's so many of us that we set limitations on our thinking patterns, for example, unbeknownst to us. Most of the time, we don't even realize that we've done it, but we think that our world is limited and that we're limited in terms of what we can achieve or the choices that we can make.
Right.
And I really want to, the work that I do is really focused on helping people see that they can be so much more and that they don't have to stay within the confines of where they think they should stay, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So I have a YouTube channel and I push content out there regularly as well, like how-to guides and just talking about different things.
Hmm.
Really, I'm an advocate of people getting in touch with themselves more emotionally. I am always up for any opportunity to stand on a stage and speak to an audience whenever I can. I've got my social media and everything, and then I work with people on a one-to-one basis as well. Although I am trying to really peter that out now, but I still have a lot of existing clients that come seeking some guidance. But people tend to come to me whenever they're starting to question things a little bit. Maybe they're at the stage in their life where they're starting to feel a little bit of dissatisfaction and they're starting to feel like life is a bit humdrum. How can
Hmm.
I change things? How can we shake it up a bit? Or maybe they're not passionate or fulfilled with their career or with their marriage or home life, and they want some change, but they don't really know where to start. And
Hmm.
that's where I sort of come in and help people gather the tools that they need to in order to do the journey themselves. And also lighting a little bit of wisdom along the way as well in terms of the direction that we're heading to in the world and maybe how that might impact on them personally.
Sure, and I can certainly see where that can be empowering to individuals, right? To through that one-on-one work with them. And so, is it a matter of you're seeing a version of themselves, or a different pathway, or a different sort of
Yeah.
direction?
Yes, very much so. So if someone is lost in life and they're
Yeah.
just feeling like they lack that direction, it's trying to help them be guided to that direction without doing the work for them, like just
Mm,
helping them navigate that themselves a little bit more and helping them realize that they do have the ability to get there.
right.
Sometimes I will say to someone, "Oh, I see this for you in the future," and it might be like a big house and you're stood on stage, you're famous, you're on all of these different TV shows, and they might be sitting thinking, Gemma, don't be so ridiculous. Because their mind and what they've experienced in their life so far has them thinking that that is so far out of reach for them that that's never a possibility. So part of my role is telling them that actually, no, you can do it. What makes you think that you can't? And, stripping that back and helping them see that they have the power to live the sort of life that they want to live if that's the direction that they want to go in.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's
And then,
it's like it's like people that win the lottery. So if we think about
okay,
the lottery, for
okay,
example,
yeah,
a lot of people think to themselves, well, you know, I'm never going to win it. But why not? Somebody's going to.
right.
So, but we've maybe heard our parents or people around us from a young age saying, "Oh, well, it's not going to be me this week, is it? I never win anything." But whenever we hear things like that all the
Yes,
time, it
yes.
starts to tell us that that is our reality. But somebody
Mm.
out there is going to win that lottery. People win the lottery all the time. So why can it not be me or you or somebody else?
That's a wonderful question, a wonderful way of thinking. Why can't it be me? Um, and so people sort of, you know, take themselves out of the running, or self-select out, or screen themselves out, because
Yeah.
of this belief, and that really speaks
Yeah.
to how powerful the belief system is and what it can do for us.
Yeah, like we are masters of putting obstacles
Yeah,
in
we
the
are, aren't we?
way. Yeah. So what I'm trying to do is come away and take those obstacles out of the way or help teach people how to take the obstacles out of the way so that they can achieve the things that they want in their life. And sometimes that's actually helping them understand what it is that they want to achieve. Not everybody
Hmm.
knows because we're
Hmm.
so detached from who we are at a soul level that we're just living this monotonous life where we're on autopilot. We do the job, work the 9 to 5, we do the commute, we have all of these things that we get into this grind. And actually, life doesn't have to be like that.
Yep.
But if it's not going to be like that for you, how do you want it to be?
Right.
What is your ideal? So
That's a great
sometimes
question.
it's just figuring that out. What do you want? Not what do you think everybody else wants
Yep.
from you?
Yep. Yep. That's a fantastic question. I love it. I love it. I love it. Curious. Um, uh, Maybe the misconception that people have of your role as a prophet. What the biggest one, or are there any, or what, have you experienced anything that where people maybe have a different understanding of, or like, do they come to you looking for lotto numbers as an example? Do you get those sorts of?
Yeah, I do get that. I do get that a lot. Let me tell you, if I could get the lotto numbers, I wouldn't be doing this job. I would be on a beach somewhere in Barbados, recording my TikToks from a hot beach. So yeah, you do get a lot of that, and a lot of it as well. People think that because you have that gift in you, oh, you must know everything, and that's not how it works either. I only get given what God wants me to have, so. I will only be given the relevant information at that particular time.
Hmm.
And often I'm only ever given a snippet of it. I talk about it as trying to do a 500-piece jigsaw puzzle with 5 pieces.
Got you. Got you.
We're not supposed to be taken away from the experience of living life, but the information can come through to guide us or to bring us comfort in some way.
Mm,
But it's only the relevant bits of the information. I don't get everything. And yeah, that's one of the big things. And I think a lot of people as well think that a prophet has to be a part of a church. And that's my role is very much not being a part of a particular church or organized religion. It's like being accessible to everyone. And, a lot of people even think, well, prophets don't exist today. That was a thing in the Bible. So there's a lot of preconceived notions that people do
got
have.
you. Got
But I
you.
do.
Got you. Got you. Well, listen, I'm a believer because you already demonstrated your prophet skills in this conversation. In a few weeks, I'm actually going to Barbados for a trip, and you just talked about it. So there we go. So, so yes,
There you
I am
go.
a believer.
Amazing. Amazing.
Talk about sort of the biggest challenges you face, kind of, becoming a prophet.
My biggest challenge was actually trusting in myself and trusting in the guidance that I was being given in order to step into that role. I didn't have the confidence to do it.
Hmm.
And to come from the corporate world where I'd had the validation and the acceptance, and all of a sudden I'm stepping out, literally felt like stepping out on a ledge to do something very, very different. And I'm not from a family of believers, so they were thinking, gosh, has she joined a
Yeah.
cult? Has she, there's something wrong here. This isn't right. She's hearing things. And everybody thought, oh, well, maybe it's just a phase. So it was very, very hard to go through that process of people worrying about you and people laughing and pointing a little bit as well. When people come against something that isn't very familiar to them, they do have a tendency to maybe mock it or make light of it. So it was pushing on down that path regardless of those things and building up the confidence actually in the information that I was getting. It's one thing receiving something for my path that I can sit on and I don't need to necessarily take action on,
Right.
but I can remember someone emailing me once. This was probably one of the earliest, the most profound experiences that I had working with other people. And she had emailed me, it was just a generic email address, and she had wanted to know if she would be getting pregnant. And I wasn't seeing that for her. I
Okay.
was being told that there was something that hadn't been diagnosed just yet that was preventing a pregnancy from happening. But I was being told that she shouldn't worry because within 6 months she would have a clearer view. And it was
Hmm.
something gynecological that was impacting the pregnancy happening.
Right.
And she was like so adamant that she had had, messages from like different psychics and tarot readers all telling her that she was going to get pregnant in a month or two. That was so hard for me, first of all, to deliver that message to her because I
Hmm.
had to have a lot of faith in the information that I was getting. You're giving
Right.
someone information that is potentially going to shatter their world.
Sure,
And
sure, yeah.
then whenever she came back and was actually saying, well, I've spoken to these other people and they see it happening for me, and it had always sort of swirled around in my mind because on one hand, I know that it's important to give the information out that I'm being given,
Yes.
but I also know that my role is supposed to be helping people along their journey, whether that's helping them heal or to give them hope.
Yes.
So, I did go through the process of questioning myself of, was that the right thing to do? Am I wrong? What are the implications of this? All of this
Yep. Yep.
self-questioning.
Yep.
And I'd always thought to myself, I wonder what happened there. But I didn't ever email her back. I just thought that was too intrusive. And she just one day I had a message and it popped up on my email and it said, it's nearly 6 months to the day. And I started to read it. She had been in, she was just recovering from surgery where her uterus, it turned out she had endometriosis, and her
Mhm.
uterus had fused onto either her bowel or her intestine and was leaning on her fallopian tube,
Okay.
which was impacting her ability to
Yes.
get
Oh,
pregnant.
wow.
And she had no idea that this was all happening. So
Yes.
whenever I was telling her there's something that isn't diagnosed that's going to get diagnosed,
Right.
that was the issue. So
Mhm.
it was incredible, and that was just such a big aha moment for me.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, it's an incredible journey, but being able to deliver a message like that with confidence and the knowledge
Mm.
that one, you're doing the right thing
Yep.
and
Yep.
that it's important for them to hear that, and
Yes.
also that to trust the information that you're getting and that it's
Yes.
right.
Yes. Yes.
That is a very, very hard thing.
Yep.
It's not so much of an issue whenever you're telling somebody
Yeah.
everything's going to be
Good news. Yeah.
amazing,
Exactly.
life is going to
Exactly.
be, but
Yeah.
whenever you're about to shatter somebody's world like that,
Yes. Yes.
that is hard.
Yes. Yeah. And have the faith to get the faith to trust that the information that you're sharing is the right thing. And
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I can certainly see where that can pose some serious challenges and make it difficult and maybe even question yourself a little bit too, right? Like you want to.
yeah,
Yeah.
massively,
Oh,
massively.
man. Okay. Wow. Wow. Um, I would imagine. I guess so. Here's my curiosity around this. So, how do you receive messages around a particular individual? How do you? What does that look like for you?
Yeah. So I have a messenger that I connect to in the spirit world. Sometimes he comes through with wings and
Okay.
sometimes he doesn't. He just comes through as normal. So he talks
Have you
about
named
him.
him? Does he have a name? Do you have a?
It's actually, I do know who he is. It's Chester Bennington from Linkin Park.
Okay. Okay.
He was the lead singer of Linkin Park and he
Yeah.
crossed over, he had taken his own life. I had thought at one stage that I would be able to connect with celebrity. And for about 6 months, I had this in my head, and I kept thinking about Patrick Swayze
Okay.
from Dirty Dancing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I connected. Patrick came through to me one day. This is one of my big, profound moments. And the next thing, Chester came in, and I was never a Linkin Park fan or anything like that. So that's who I connect to. That's the
Okay.
person that comes through.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so whenever he brings me information through, I hear, so he will talk to me. I will hear his mouth move potentially if he's showing me himself in that way. And he will also impress other visions in my mind that might be like a symbolic movie type
Okay.
image of that person or something that's happening on, in their life. And it might include body language, hand gestures, and I'll just sense the energy overall. If you can imagine, a comic strip, and if somebody's running fast, they'll have like lines going
Yeah.
out the
Right.
back of them.
Right.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
things like that. That's sort of the things that I would see in order to try and annotate. Or if somebody was shouting, I'll see a scrunched up face and I'll see the speech bubbles coming out of their mouth. So I'll see stuff like that, but I'll also hear words and phrases, sometimes full sentences, and I'll feel the energy and emotion of the situation as well. So normally a person will be asking me specific questions. Sometimes I'll get just random bits of guidance for them, but often they'll come to me with specific questions, and I'll receive the information that normally confirms some of the situation for them, as
Right.
well as then gives them additional information that they, weren't aware of or that is set to come, for example.
Wow. It's
Yeah.
interesting. It comes in the form of Chester. I guess he's and that. Um, yeah, guess I've never heard it, someone, an actual individual. So that's a first for me, right? You heard an actual
Yeah.
individual who people are familiar with, right? So that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Well,
Well,
even my journey to connect with Chester was like
yeah.
a really challenging one because, I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm just a normal person. And all of a sudden, this famous guy wants to be my best friend. And, it just, you really, you question your sanity. I have went through a lot of periods in my years doing this where I have really questioned my sanity and wondered if I'm, losing my marbles, or do I need
Sure.
psychiatric help? It does go through your mind at times. But then you get told something that is so profound that it just blows all of those worries out the water.
And so, where's your family at now? Are they still concerned for you? Were there are there some?
No,
Okay.
they're fine now. They've just accepted it now.
Okay.
They just think, oh well, whatever. My brother has said she needs to get a proper job, so he's still a little bit unsure, but they're not worried about me the same
Good.
way they
Good.
were before.
Good. Good. You mentioned you've got a book forthcoming.
I do, yes. So the book is out. It's Wisdom, Proverbs for Today. So it's available to buy on Amazon. It's hardback, paperback, and on Kindle as well. And it's also on Kindle Unlimited for anybody that wants to access it. It's all been given to me. So that was all information and insight and wisdom that has been given to me through Chester from God. And it actually came about because I had been reading the Bible and I had read the book of Proverbs, and
Okay.
some of it was amazing, and some
Mhm.
of it I really felt wasn't maybe in alignment with how we live today,
Okay.
and maybe didn't really take into consideration the human condition and the complexities of it. It didn't really take into consideration how people struggle with their thinking and mental health, and how we need to do more, to support people and to
Right. Mhm.
support ourselves as well. And Chester said, write your own. And that was how it came about.
Lovely, lovely. Um, for listeners that wanted to connect with you or get a copy of your book, where could we send them?
So it's on Amazon. If they want to go via my website, first of all, it is gemmalonsdale.guru. Take it onto my
Lovely,
website,
lovely,
and they'll
lovely.
find everything that they need from there.
Jimo, this has been certainly insightful, and I so appreciate the manner in which using your God-given gifts to help others. I think that when you sort of think about the best way that we can impact others positively, and that's certainly one of my goals is to use the gifts that we've given to do so, and you've definitely done that, which is fantastic to hear. Congratulations on your awakening and your own discovery. I think it's very important. We all are, again, I talked off the top. We all on our path, and part of that path is the awakening of the direction that we're supposed to go into. And you definitely have found yours. So congratulations on that,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for being a guest on the Audacious Living podcast.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It has been a pleasure. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Fantastic. back we are here on the podcast. And, in our conversation, Gemma eloquently articulated the importance of embracing one's spiritual gifts while navigating often turbulent waters of societal norms. She challenged the misconceptions surrounding the prophetic roles, emphasizing her true guidance comes not from knowing everything, but for sharing relevant insights to foster personal growth. What I really personally loved about this interview was Gemma's authenticity and the sincerity with which she shared her own personal journey. Her story of transformation resonated deeply, reminding us that it's never too late to embark on a path of self-discovery and fulfillment. I encourage you to connect with Gemma directly. You can find her contact details in the show notes below. She's on social media, and you can explore her insightful YouTube channel as well. It's where she shares guidance and tools for self-discovery. And again, like I said, the contact details are all in the show notes below, so be sure to check them out. Gemma is also offering a special promotion for our listeners, access to an exclusive online workshop focused on unlocking your authentic self, which again, that's all in the show notes below as well. Excuse me. I want to take this opportunity, get my throat here. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for joining us on another edition of the Audacious Living Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to like, follow, subscribe, and share if you haven't already done so. Together, we can inspire even more individuals to live their best audacious lives. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stephenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.